You're the boss.
I'm the boss. Okay. Welcome, everybody. Welcome back. At the end of this session, I'm going to send you guys an email, and I'm going to ask you to go to the Amazon site where Michael's book is housed, Lead with Respect. And I'm going to ask everybody to give him a wonderful rating on his Amazon rating system. So, yeah, absolutely. I'm going to force it. I would force it. A 5 out of 5. Absolutely. So I will send everybody an email after this. And if you want the slides for today's session, actually, I'll give you the slides for every session in the past by emailing gtrichillis at leanleadership.guru, and then just put Balle PDF slides and you'll get them all. You'll get them all on a link you'll be able to download. So Michael, thank you. Welcome back. It's always great to have you. Go to it. Share with us what daily Kaizen means, and I'll ask questions and interrupt as I need to. Take care.
Okay, thank you, George. We're getting into the meat of things here, which is Kaizen. One of the papers Jeff and I wrote a while ago is the fact that this radically changes the role of managers. It changes managers from people who are always pushing things forward. And in the bureaucratic world we live in, most managers see themselves as people who need to move projects along. So they need to run things surely, but there are these projects, these topics, these things that just need to be moved along. And there's this very Taylorist idea that if you leave people around that just waffle and faffle and soldier on or loaf, certainly they will not give their best to the project. So the managers see themselves as having their role is to push people along so that the project moves along. Toyota opened a completely new way of looking at organization. Is the way we tend to think of any job is that a job is just work. It's all about routines and standards and blah, blah, blah. But Toyota said, no, hang on, a job is work. Sure, there's work, but work plus Kaizen. The underlying idea here that if you want people to work well, you have to ask them to work better. So I'll take an example here. It's a construction company. The CEO who runs this company is one of people I think of as a true lean CEO. He started lean when he took over the company, and he'd started lean a couple of years before. And he's one of the people I know who are committed to lean as a way to manage the entire company, which I think is an interesting example. So what these guys do is these kinds of buildings. They don't design the building. The client designs the building. The client hires an architect, designs the building, sets a price, a budget, and the company's business is to actually make the building. So the overall thing about the learning by on-the-job learning by doing is that the CEO has a strategy that has evolved over time that is based on lean. And here you see him. He's what he does is he goes to all the sites and does the Gemba walks, and he constantly reaffirms this strategy to explain to people how he wants the company run. And the strategy is actually very straightforward. Is 1, work safely. 2, do right first time. 3, done and gone, and I explain what this means. 4, smooth handovers. And 5th, find ideas to improve the energy performance of the building. The interesting thing about this strategy is that it didn't come, it was not a one day a visionary wake up at all. It grew progressively from the Gembas. So we apply the same method here. We have the same graph, and here you see a young engineer who's working on a project. And once a day, as they visit the site several times a day, once a day, one member of the team picks, here you see different colors of writing. This is different members of the team, picks one very detailed problem they've solved, something that they saw, that they talked to the lads on the shop floor, and they solved it. And they have to write how they understood the problem, what they think the cause is, how what countermeasure they use, and what happened, what's the status. So this is what done and gone is about. When you build a building, first you put the concrete part and the building is there, and then you have to equip it. You have to paint, you have to put in electricity, you have to do all this stuff. And what you find is that these teams work at a different speed. For instance, the painter can go very fast, but some plumbing or some other task could take a long time. So what they do is, because they let's say that the painter will run very fast through the building, what they'll do is they put a buffer of time. They'll wait for the team before them to have done most of the work, and then they'll rush in, and again, we're batching. So the idea here is we need to, and the reason they do, and what happens when they start doing it is that usually they can't get in it's not ready for them. The previous stage is not finished. There's a lot of rework. There's a lot of crap on the floor, and the new team hates it and has to do all these work to clean up and then work. So we figured that out, and John figured it out and figured that a lot of his lean time was linked to the fact that people would finish the job but not quite finish. They would leave stuff behind. And sometimes he finally realized, they say, well, listen, the cost of solving things right now is so high that we should leave it behind and then fix it. But then he started realizing that the cost of doing so over the overall project is tremendous. So at first he was starting to say, well, listen, if it costs twice as much to do it now than to do it later, to correct something, to do it later, correct it now. Then he would say, if it costs 5 times as much to correct it now than it would be to correct it later, do it now. Last time I've heard him say, if it costs 10 times as much, of course, at some points it becomes silly. At some points you have to do it later because you need the equipment, you need something else. Fine. Which leads us to the next step, which is, how do you generate new ideas? And the difficulty here is, of course, standard is very convergent because people are not infinitely inventive, so they tend to copy each other's standards. But true creativity has to be divergent. True creativity comes from thinking outside the box. So we put the problems on the wall and we think. And one of the techniques that I've learned in the old days of Lean was 7 distinct theories for everything. So we pushed until we can explain the problem in 7 distinct ways. Then we build on each other's ideas. We don't say, oh, shut up or whatever. The idea is say, well, your idea, if I don't like the idea, I can't turn it down. I have to build on it in a way that I like it better. Don't worry too much about problem solving. Worry enormously about defining the target conditions. And target conditions in Lean are not a free-for-all. Target conditions are actually very well defined. We know where to look for target conditions. It's about safety, it's about quality, it's about mix flexibility, it's about volume flexibility. We know how to look. We know where to look. What happens is that as you do the Kaizen, sometimes people come up with really, really smart ideas. And there the CEO has a second role. So first the CEO challenges on the target conditions, teaches, as we said, how to solve problems, but then lets people run with it, solve problems, and then looks at what they've done. And sometimes you have to recognize that some suggestions and ideas go way beyond what we thought. And certainly the CEO of this company is passionate about the environment. He's been for as long as I've known him, many, many years. And this is what they've done. Every building they build has to work on one consumption reduction issue, one sustainability issue. And over the years, finally, at some point, they say, well, they've had the opportunity of design one building more fully than others. And here are the results. Minus 30% energy consumption. It's a reduction of 30%. Using no esoteric complex techniques, just using better normal construction techniques. And we do have a cost increase, but it's a cost increase of 2 or 3% for a 30% energy consumption reduction. So here you see really how Kaizen builds in true innovation. And that's a point for the presentation, and we can go into questions.
Michael, this is Julie Claire. Can you hear me?
I hear you clearly. Ha ha.
I was wondering if there's some sort of a repository for all these Kaizens and improvements that they make. Do they like have some central place where they just put all these different improvements and the problems?
No, they share them.
No.
They've organized. The company organizes from the very start. The company organizes some breakfast meetings where all the engineers come together. And at every one of these meetings, they share their Kaizen. But what's gone is gone.
I just wonder if other people could learn from Kaizens if they did have some sort of repository for it.
Julie, you don't learn from text. You learn from doing. That's the point.
Touche.
Okay. Take it easy. You have to take into consideration the complete failure of knowledge management.
Okay.
I'm probably older than you are, and I remember the time in the 80s and the 90s where we decided that we needed a repository of all knowledge that was called knowledge management. Then this thing came up that was called Wikipedia. So we do need a repository of engineering principles, of the hardcore lessons. You see what I mean? Of the theory. This absolutely. And it's interesting because we do have a problem there, and we are working on it with creating some. We're working on creating online courses that will take people back through the basics. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Really engineering classes. But the point, the learning happens through the Kaizen. And in many cases, the solutions that happen in one way, in one place would not work in another. What we do, Julie, is that when we see that, when John sees that there's something that somebody else has solved, he says, get in the car, go and talk to them. And again, here, this is not about copy, this is copy and improve. So the actual instruction is what we call in Lean Yokuten is you get in the car, you go and talk to them, you bring back not the solution, but their idea, and you improve it locally. Do you see what I mean?
Right. No, I absolutely see it. I mean, one thing probably would not cross over into another area and work the exact same. Another improvement would not.
Exactly. And what we're seeking here, it's the same thing as with the problem solving, that when I saw this list of problem solving, we are not seeking to accelerate the problem solving to make the process one day perfect. It will never be. We're seeking to make people autonomous so that they commit to the problem they solve. They have to write it, because if not, we don't know what they had in their minds, and we will discuss it. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, but you force them to write it and then you don't keep it.
Of course not. All these sheets, we tear them away. We don't care. It's problem-based teaching. We use the problem to teach. We don't teach them so they solve problems.
Frustrating man, Michael Balle.
Yeah, absolutely. That definitely helps with the question, though. Thank you.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much. Michael, thank you so much for today. It's always
thanks,
a pleasure. I'm going to ask everybody to go to Amazon and Lead with Respect, give you a wonderful score. I'm going to send everybody a link to it, and please, guys, do so. That's what we work for. We work for a like button. Just like us. Okay, and finally, if you want all of the webinars so far, the PDF slides, email me and I'll send them to you. Just put Balle PDF slides, just so I can make it a quick link, and I'll send you those links. You can download the PDF slides. Michael, again, thank you so much. I'll see you next month.
Right.
Thank you,
Take care, everybody. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.